Sorry, I'm late.
Thanks for coming. Okay, so good morning, and thank you all for coming. I'll say that again. As teachers and educators, we get thrown a lot of information at us, and we don't really get to use that information, or we don't really think about that information, and we just kind of move on. So my purpose for today is just talk about some ideas that I had to put more reading in the science classroom. So it's not really just information that I'm throwing at you. I feel like it's information that maybe will help you better understand how to get more reading in the science classroom, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about 3 possible ideas to support a problem, and I'll talk about that problem here in a minute. Okay, so when reading science literature, I continuously check how many more pages I still have to read. Right, yeah. I feel like that's a very true thing. And I feel like I do it too. I'm like, oh man, there's 4 pages that the kids are going to have to read. They're going to hate it. And I don't think that should be a thing that we hate. I think, reading information for learning is really important. And to get kids excited about it, there's 3 possible ways that I think we can do that. So my problem is how to get students to read nonfiction books in our science or STEM classroom. So from the meeting earlier, a lot of kids struggle to read nonfiction books or articles because it typically has big words and does not relate to their world. It's really outside of their realm, and they could care less about what's in that text. They look to see how many pages they have to read and typically obtain the information, and it's usually not on reading level. It's usually way above their reading level. They don't understand the vocab, even if we go over the vocab. So I feel like that's super a big struggle for kids is how to obtain that information. So my first point is it starts when they're young. I think that it's important. Make sure it's still going. I think it's okay. So science should be taught at a young age. Elementary schools are not using science to the full advantage that they should. We should be incorporating reading and science together. My friend teaches 2nd grade, and they do their whole reading section. Their whole reading unit is involved with science. So they incorporate science and reading into their unit. So they have nonfiction and fiction texts throughout their course of their unit that involves science. But I think that's pretty important, and I think that gets kids to understand not all fiction is false information, not all nonfiction is boring. So things like that to get them to understand that we can read and get information from all different sorts of text. So using nonfiction textbooks and stories to help students read and learn about science. So reading high quality and age appropriate nonfiction science books is an essential. It's factualizations that develop distinct literacy skills such as making inferences, identifying key concepts, and synthesizing and summarizing information. So if kids have that ability at a young age, then they're able to take that, synthesize it, and then once they get into 6th grade, hopefully they're able to better understand what they're reading. So if we start in kindergarten talking about those types of texts, even just looking at pictures and talking about them with them, I think we can synthesize better for them. My second point is bring in outside resources that students can pick from to read. So not just having the textbook, having other types of pamphlets, articles, things like that. I like to find these little articles that are just a page or 2 and just have them read about it and answer some questions. I think that's more useful than reading 10 pages in a textbook and then not wanting to answer the questions because the words are too big. So I think the library has great resources, and they can find great resources for us to use those. This gives students options of what they're going to read. So if you had 10 books that they can pick from, then they get to be the person that picks the book, and then they'll be more excited to read that book, and I think that'd be great for them. Always reading the textbooks can cause a hate for nonfiction reading. Giving students the option and resources from different resources can help them better understand nonfiction texts and how to learn from it. So this is one of the articles I read. One tool educators can use to supplement learning learning various STEM concepts both in and out of the classroom is children's literature. As an educator, it's important to remember that each classroom is made up of a unique set of students. These students have varying degrees of background knowledge, reading levels, and even learning styles. So picking those kids that might need more background knowledge and giving them those books to help them better understand what the science unit is going to be. And then my last and third point is combining science and language arts using project-based learning and hands-on learning. So I think kids learn hands-on. They're more tactile. Thank you. So integrating science and literacy supports students' achievement in both disciplines. Both reading and science inquiry are concerned with thinking process. Both are an effort to construct meaning. So with that being said, teachers need support and teachers need to support students with these hands-on things. So giving them, this to read, but then also giving them more ideas to pull out information from that text. So being able to say, we're going to do this activity together, but first we have to read and figure out what we're going to do all together. So I think, even if it's just the instructions on how to do the project or how to do the experiment, would be really helpful for them to better understand that reading is important, and in the science classroom it supports their hands-on techniques and things like that. So these solutions will make it easier for students to better understand how to read nonfiction texts, have them enjoy reading nonfiction texts, and hopefully they will have a better understanding of what they are reading by using these suggestions. So as you go back to your science classrooms, just think about maybe how we can incorporate these things into our classroom, how we can support younger grades into getting these into their classroom. Talking to Mrs. Bausch about, getting more library books that could include in our units and things like that. So that is all I have for today from our unit, but thank you.